Speedrunning is the hobby of finishing a game in the fastest way possible. It is a difficult test of video game skills, reaction timing, and muscle memory. Similar to a sport, people compete against each other to get first place in the leaderboards, break world records, and make historical achievements. The way to speedrun a game usually involves exploiting cracks in the game's design and programming code, known as glitches. This video focuses not on the speedrunners, but on the community of people who find these glitches. A community unified by their love for the game and their love of breaking it. A community built on collaboration and continuous betterment of their works. A community whose role is essential to several aspects of the gaming community, within the speedrunning community, towards the games that they try to break, and even the developers of those games. This is the community of glitch hunters. Now, we have to make a distinction. Glitch hunters do find glitches to use in speedruns, of course, but some also work on coming up with strategies and finding the fastest route to take. Although there are huge overlaps between these, this video will only focus on the first one. Now, before we dive into the details, let's take a look at what previous scholars have to say about this topic. Which is not a lot. In fact, not many academics have written articles on speedrunning, let alone this very specific part of speedrunning. However, the nature of this hobby can be understood through some of the concepts introduced and elaborated in these texts. Stephanie Bullock and Patrick Lemieux's chapter called About, Within, Around, Without, a survey of 6 metagames. This chapter focuses on the metagame, defined as the unintended way to play, which involves looking into the inner workings of a game and using such information to manipulate it to one's advantage. And that's exactly what glitch hunting is. Another one is E. Gabriella Kalman and Alex Golub's article called Hacker Practice, Moral Genres and the Cultural Articulation of Liberalism. This article examines the political motivations of hacking, but as hacking and glitch hunting draws many parallels, one can be understood through another. Other anthropologists and sociologists' theories have also helped me form my own analysis from my findings, such as Raymond Williams' theory of symptomatic technology, as glitch hunters tend to take game developers' quote-unquote inventions and use them for a different purpose. Or Danielle Miller's idea of persona, the life that a person projects themselves online, which helps explain this special sense of identity among glitch hunters and their relationship, spending years working together on a one-of-its-kind project and forming a real community even if they never meet each other face to face. Clifford Geertz's method of interpretive anthropology and thick description also helps dig deeper and deeper into the layers of meaning in glitch hunting, a complicated concept bound together by many other different complicated concepts. And finally, Langdon Winner's Do Objects Have Politics? Helps explore different meanings in glitch hunters' way of thinking and communicating within the community and with the world, as their hobby has complex philosophies and political motives implied in the methods, the reactions, and their own regulations, even if they are not aware of this themselves. As for my methods of research, I did some observation by watching Games Done Quick streams on Twitch, where people explain their findings of glitches and demonstrate them to the audience, videos on YouTube regarding important glitches in speedrunning history and how people found them, and I also read past forums where people shared strategies with each other and taking notes of their attitudes and behaviors. As for surveys, To ensure that I have some really good responses, I needed a place with people who are passionate and knowledgeable about the subject, while also being as helpful and objective as possible. So I went on Reddit and Discord. But what surprised me was that the people who responded were all extremely passionate about what they do, and they shared their experiences in great detail. I posted on the r/speedrun subreddit, asking several questions about glitch hunting. I came up with some questions on glitch hunting methods, on their experiences within the community, on their attitude toward the games that they play, as well as towards the developers of said games, and even of their own work. And then I did some thematic analysis by taking a close look at these responses and trying to find interesting common threads or disparities between their philosophy and experiences doing this work. As a research method, glitch hunting can be understood through Williams' theory of symptomatic technology, specifically the point that discoveries are often accidental and their intentions are often determined, not by the creator but by the people who put them to use. Initially, many glitches were discovered by accident, and then these errors get turned into strategies that cut down time. Developers did not intend the glitches to be there, yet they're being taken advantage of for a different purpose. Other times, however, people have in mind what the desired outcome is and experiment until that happens in the game. For example, in The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, the Great Plateau, the game's first area, which works as a tutorial level, is a raised land with an inescapable blanket of fog that disallows players to jump off of. People have been working together for months trying to bypass this fog, to no avail. Yet this teamwork on a shared vision shows that the search for accidents is sometimes deliberate. The intention of the glitch is theorized first, and then the glitch would be found based on that. People have also shared that after doing glitch hunting for a long period of time, people start to notice patterns, develop certain knowledge and thought processes, specifically to notice slip-ups in the game's code and attack the game's design at the right spot, or build up their arsenal of imagination to idealize the perfect scenario and using it to solve the puzzles that they themselves create. It almost feels to me that glitch hunting is a craft with different methodologies, utilizing many different branches in technology, and one that can be honed with enough practice. For finding glitches, there are dozens of ways. Accidentally running into them, noticing one weird aspect and investigating it further, just googling game glitch even sometimes works. Something I've had a lot of success with is looking at the interactions. Take one feature and see how it interacts with every other feature in the game. Doing two things at once is another good one. Sometimes you need to use one glitch to bring out the full potential of another, so discovering a new one can be a reason to go back over old ones. As a form of communication within the community, glitch hunting offers a space for people to not just contribute to speedrunning, but also form meaningful bonds and help each other get better at technical skills such as programming or designing video games, but also boosts creativity, observation, and critical thinking. This is an example of the line between virtuality and reality blurring, where a virtual activity based entirely on virtual communication, done in a virtual world, has consequences in the real life. Sure, the game is virtual, but the skills developed and the relationships formed are real. In fact, one person shared that it was thanks to their work that they got a job at a company that made the game. Many share that within their communities, glitch hunting is usually the only thing, besides routing, that is talked about. Within the community, their works and findings are their bonds and conversations. Therefore, they think that the process of finding glitches is joy in itself, not the final outcome. Each finding is unique and support rather than compete against each other. One person said, "It's part science, part archaeology, part art, and partly just burning your brain at a very satisfying coalface with asymmetric competition." Far removed from direct confrontations such as chess, so that your achievements can stand alone more in their light, rather than cross-shading others. To elaborate more on what they said about asymmetric competition, the competitive component to this is that people sometimes race to be the first one to make a certain breakthrough, especially when they all have the same vision but not the skills or luck to find the exact way to execute it. An example would be Pen & Coec 2012's Upward Glitch, a glitch in Super Mario 64 that makes the character teleport upwards by a lot. If somebody could figure out how that happened and be able to replicate it in other areas, it would lead to significant time saves. As a result, Pen & Coec put a bounty of $1,000 on the glitch.
The first person to reproduce the glitch and send it to me will be rewarded $1,000.
It's been 5 years and the bounty is still unclaimed. As a form of communication with the rest of the gaming community, glitches and tricks in speedruns enhance the depth of the game. They make it so that top players have extra mountains to ascend, and give a greater sense of community when, for example, you can discover a mechanic that makes RNG reliable, or give new or casual players more options for their runs. Indeed, many glitches are quite easy to perform, and even casual players can do it. These give everyone more ways to enjoy the game and create a sense of community, bridging the gap between professionals with thousands of in-game hours and those who just play games for fun. In Celeste, many tricks utilized by speedrunners are actually very simple and even feels good to do as a casual player. This leads to many who love the game either get into actually speedrunning it or just have more movement options to traverse its wonderful world. In addition, sometimes there are glitches that appear funny, captivating, or have interesting premises, which draws people in. For example, there's a missing frame in the looping idle animation in Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which eventually leads to runners leaving their computers on for 17 hours straight just to clip into a wall. The lengths that these people go to just for a slightly better record is a bit concerning, but it also captures the attention of other gamers, especially those who are not familiar with the antics of the speedrunning community. The history of world records of certain games is another way for the glitch hunting community to connect with other gamers. YouTube documentaries by people such as Summoning Salt and Carl Jobst have gripping narratives that focus on stories of determined people who relentlessly work towards their goals, and close-knit communities who bond through their triumphs and failures, showcasing their joy, disappointment, and solidarity. This inspires others to, if not get into speedrunning and glitch hunting specifically, then to move forward and put in the hard work for their dreams, to believe in themselves that the payoff would be worth it in the end, and to put faith and love in the communities that accept them for who they are.
Oh, I'm so ready. Left, center, right, center.
With the game, glitch hunters see themselves as a bunch of people who love the game and want to push it to its limits in the same way. So it's not surprising that they share an intimate relationship with the games that they play. The love for the game is very important to them because who would want to spend hundreds and thousands of hours on a game that they don't love? These games provide them with joy, purpose, and gratification. So most people decide to speedrun or glitch hunt a game that they already love. And their work almost always results in them growing to love the game even more, and appreciating it in many different ways. For instance, recalling the joy that they have from spending their time in-game, associating the games with an accepting community, or understanding the game's design even more. It's a different way of appreciating the game in my opinion, so if anything I like the games I choose to run more than I did before. However, some do feel that they have to refrain themselves from straying away from the intended path immediately with every game they play. Honestly, I sometimes have to unlearn my job to enjoy a game casually, stop myself from spending time trying to break a mechanic, instead of just enjoying the game. Once I've finished it, then I can get back to trying out tricks. With the developers of the game, some glitch hunters see their work as a way to communicate their love for the game. I think breaking a game is to be taken as a love letter for the devs. We choose to care about their game enough to spend loads of time finding optimizations for it. This love may sometimes go unrequited, however. Many think negatively of developers who patch out, meaning fixes, any glitch they find, rendering their findings useless and making their job much harder, sometimes making the whole community reorganizing their world records, leaderboards, strategies, and whether certain glitches are allowed or not. They usually feel abandoned or betrayed by developers who claim to love speedrunners and glitch hunters, and then turn around and take away some of the most important findings. We're always excited to see what's gonna be in the next update, to see if they updated graphics or fixed crashes or other annoying bugs, but we were often disappointed. The devs have removed or attempted to remove some major glitches in the game that we loved, and some were greatly used in speedruns. It makes me and probably many others feel like they just don't care about the speedrunning side of the community that they created, even though the original game was revived due to speedrunners in the first place. Some, however, are more positive about the relationship. In the era of hot patching, I view glitch hunting as a competition with the developers. If the developers don't patch the game, I'm happy because exploits remain available to build on. If the developers patch the game, I'm happy because the game gets better and I get more replay value trying to circumvent the patch. They believe that developers only want to make the best product possible for all players, including casual ones who may not even know that speedrunning exists. Instead, when faced with these challenges, they see value in trying to outsmart developers and quite literally beating them at their own game. Finally, within the speedrunning community itself, the work of glitch hunting directly affects speedruns, so of course they are very important in the community. From most answers that I have received, they are strongly motivated by their passion in the craft itself, their sense of responsibility to the community, or simply their love for the game, rather than fame and recognition. In the community, we do our best to document every find with its finder, though recognition really doesn't matter. It's not like we give out medals for the best glitch hunter. It's not like any of us really care about recognition from other runners for finding things at the end of the day. Someone who only watches Shipped, which is a popular speedrunner, run the game, for example, isn't gonna know the depth of the community at all. Only the people that are actively engaged in the community are really gonna know. I don't think it's necessary to put people on a pedestal. Speedrunning is not in fact about getting the fastest time. It's about the love of the game, expressed in the pursuit of the fastest time. There's no fame or recognition in speedrunning. Those streamers with hundreds or thousands of viewers don't have them because they're good speedrunners. They have them because they're good streamers. It doesn't matter how much your findings are used. You don't really get recognition either way. If you find enough strats, the people directly in the community may come to regard you as a good hunter. They might bring you leads or ask for your thoughts on certain routes, but you don't need to throw out time save after time save to have that happen. In some communities, speedrunning and glitch hunting is intertwined, and to some people, and in some communities, there are no differences between the two. Everyone does a little bit of experimenting. There really isn't a gap between them. We're all people who love the game. This is especially true within lesser-known titles, since there are not enough people to have some dedicated to only one thing. As opposed to competition for fame, the sense of community here is very strong, and many glitch hunters consider their connections one of the most important things that hold the community together. It's a community where their contributions matter and their voice is heard, where their weird way to play video games is taken seriously, and where they find people with the same goals to grow and learn with and to succeed and fail with. It's a community where, in the end, they see the theories and findings they put their heart and soul in finally come to life and be immortalized by the speedruns that come. Glitch hunting comes from a pure passion and love of what we do. The thrill of discovering something new about a game, and the excitement of sharing it with others. But what makes it so special is the collaborations and friendships that we look back on. There's so much history behind every single one of these names, both for speedrunning as a whole and for my personal journey. These are the people who have made me who I am today, and I cannot be more grateful. Glitches and stuff.